Welcome back to my channel, y'all. We are just math, y'all. You can do it. It's just math. Here we go. We're going to be looking at equations of lines. We're going to kind of be connecting the dots a little bit today, and a little math joke right there. So we have been talking about slope in the previous videos, but before then we were doing something with equations. We were drawing lines. We were plugging in a number and getting a number, plugging in a number and getting a number. So I'm going to put these two concepts together. I'm going to go kind of quickly on this part that we're just kind of reviewing just a little bit. But if you'll remember, when we did equations of lines, we did lines like this. We have x plus y equal 4, and we came up with some points that worked. We did these in our head because it was pretty quick and easy to do. So we knew that 2 plus 2 is 4, and we knew that 3 plus 1 was 4. And we can do a bunch of these because these are kind of easy. And we know that 0 plus 4 is 4. So, we can just sit here and do as many as we want, but we're going to graph it. So these are all solutions. These are all points on the line, so I can dot those. 2, 2, 3, 1, 0, 4, and 1, 3. So there's those lines right there. And I'm going to connect my dots. Okay, and so now real quickly I'm going to do my slope. All right, so my slope, remember, is my rise over my run from point to point. So my slope here is down 1, right 1. So my slope is just -1. And you'll see it's that same pattern, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, all the way up and down my line. Now I'm going to try to erase just the green because I don't want to keep doing that, but you can see that the slope is the point pattern between all the points on the line. Okay, so now let's look at the second one. All right, again, we're going to put some numbers down. Okay, now remember when we talked about plugging in numbers for fractions, we like to plug in 0 first because that's easy. And so we're going to do that quickly in our head. If I put a 0 in for x, then I'm going to get -1 for y. And then I like to plug in the denominator. Remember that one? So if I plug in 3 for x, then I'm going to get a +1 for y. Okay, so I'm going to graph these 2 points. So 0, -1 is here. And then 3, +1 is here. Okay, so these 2 lines actually cross. There they are. And now let's do the slope of the second line. Okay, let's do the slope. I was using green for slope. Okay, so I'm going to go up 2. So I went up 2, and then 1, 2, 3, and then right 3. So my rise is 2, and my run is 3. So my slope is 2/3. Okay, let's do the last one. So this one, we like to do intercepts for this one. Do you remember doing that? We did intercepts with color blue. So remember, we did the intercepts for this one. Okay, so the intercepts, we can do points where we have 0 for the x and figure it out, and then we do a 0 for the y. Okay, those are the intercept points. Instead of just 1 0, we did 2. So if x is 0, we're going to get, stop the video, calculate it if you want to, -6. And if I plug in 0 for y, do it on your scratch paper, plug it in, I'm going to get 4. Okay, so now 0, -6 is here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And then 4, 0 is over here. Okay, so I have this line. Okay, and so now just real quickly, let's calculate the slope of this line. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have my rise is a +6, and my run is a +4, which reduces to 3/2. So that's the slope for that one. Okay, so now I want you to notice that one of these three examples has the slope in the equation. It's literally jumping out at you. It's the middle one. The slope is 2/3 and there is 2/3. Is that a coincidence? No, that's the way it's going to be. And so what I'm teaching you right now is to how to see the slope in the lines. Now, I don't see it in this first one. So if I look at the first line and my slope's -1, first of all, I don't see a negative anywhere. And, well, I guess there are ones. It's a 1x and 1y, but I don't see the negative. The third one, I get 3/2. I do see a 3 and I do see a 2. Is there a connection there? Yes, there is, but I don't know if it's positive or negative. Okay, so here's the rule. The one in the middle is the one we want to follow. Okay, this one is called Slope-Intercept Form. Okay, so now here's the reason why. This first number is the slope. Slope is m. The second number is the y-intercept. See, we calculated it right there. That's the y-intercept. It was an easy calculate. And here it is right here. So this is slope-intercept form. So this is our favorite form. We're going to talk about that. The slope is staring at you. So here it is again. Here's the form. You can see the slope. You can see the slope and the y-intercept when it's in this form. Now, how do we describe this form? Well, this form has got to say y equals. Y equals. If it says y equals, and then you have the x number and then a plane number, then you're in this form. And this is where we can actually see the slope in the equation. Okay, with a trained eye, you can see things, but you have to know where to look and know what you're looking for. So here is what we can do. We learned how to solve an equation for y. We learned how to make things say y equals. We did that. Okay, so now we need to make it y equals. Remember, we did this. Subtract 4x on both sides, and that cancels out. And then we divide everything by -7, and we get y equal format. And our slope for this one is 4/7. Okay, here's another example. Need to make it say y equals. So I subtracted the 5x on both sides. Bring that one down. Now notice, this I didn't do, remember? I didn't do that. But notice how I wrote it. I wrote the x first. Does it matter? Not really, other than our traditional way of writing it, we have the x first. And so to keep with tradition, we're going to put the x first. So -5x plus 4 instead of 4 minus 5x. It means the same thing. And then we divide everything by the -2. Okay, so now that's going to cancel. Negative divided by negative leads me to a positive. And then 4 divided by -2 gives me -2. And then my slope is 5/2. We can see the slope in the line itself. Okay, so let's do one that hasn't been done so that you can actually see it. So let's do the one we had. 3x minus 2y equaled 12. Is that what we had? I think it is. Okay, yes. All right. And so we want to make it say y equals. That's our goal, to make it say y equals. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. And that's going to go away. Don't forget there's a -2y. All right, now this, instead of writing 12 minus 3x, I'm going to flip it around to keep with tradition. And I'm going to write it like that, -3x. And now I'm going to divide by -2. So I subtracted 3x. And now I'm going to divide by -2. All of them. All Right? So now that's a 1. So now I have 1y. Negative divided by negative is a positive, so that becomes 3 over 2x. And then the next one, 12 divided by negative 2, it's negative 6. And so I'm getting y equals 3 over 2x minus 6, and therefore my slope is 3 over 2, and my y-intercept, that's the y-intercept, is negative 6, 0, negative 6. If I put a 0 in for x, I'm automatically going to get the negative 6. Okay? And so that's why that's the y-intercept. So that's why this format is called Slope-Intercept Form. That's what it's called. And it's where it says y equals. Okay? So finding the slope inside of an equation. Finding the slope inside of an equation, it needs to say y equals. Once it says y equals, it should be the number, the coefficient of x. Okay? To find the slope of an equation inside the equation, make it say y equals using your algebra, and then the coefficient of x is your slope. Okay, now something to remember in case you forgot. What about those special lines? What about horizontal lines? Okay, let's look at horizontal lines. Horizontal, what's the slope of a horizontal? Go back all the way to the beginning. Horizontal lines, the slope is 0. Okay, go back to the beginning. The very first page we talked about, we said y equal a number is an equation for horizontal. Well, that fits the rule because it's y equals 0x plus a number. So there's your number. And there is no x. There is no x, the slope is 0. Okay, now the undefined one is the weird one. But the vertical, remember your slope is undefined. Okay, and we said the equation x equal a number is the equation for it. And we can't make it y equals. We can't make this y equals. It doesn't have a slope. Well, the slope is undefined. It doesn't have a run, so it can't have a slope if you don't have a run, because that's the denominator, and you can't have a 0 in the denominator. So it's undefined. Okay? Hope that helps. It's just math, y'all. We're thinking things. We're not calculating things. Have you noticed that? We're learning rules and thinking about stuff. So only occasionally do we do much calculating. So this is kind of where math gets a little bit tricky. It can be really easy for those of you that struggle with calculations. So think about that. You're learning rules and you're looking at patterns and you're only doing a little bit of math. So it's just math, y'all. You can do it.